Welcome to Soft Bites Podcast. Your life, your dentistry. We talk about ways to have more fun and meaning in one of the coolest and most rewarding professions in medicine. Conversations on how to bring awareness, create a healthy workplace, and provide emotional insights to make dentistry a fulfilling activity while making space for one's wonder, creativity, and freedom. Here are your hosts, Manuela and George Andre.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hello, Andre. How are you?
How are you, Manuela? I'm fine.
Good. Is it summer there?
It is summer, yes. It's been really good here. In Spain, it is a little bit windy, but I've been managing to get some sunny days, to get some sun and some beach days. I can't complain, honestly. I've been working quite a lot, but it's been fun. Also because I've been having some extra expenses this year because it's the final part of my construction work in my practice. So I need to work a little bit extra, but it's been good.
It's quite a privilege to live near the sea, right? You have that privilege.
Yeah.
You use it to relax, right? And you feel good near the sea.
Well, I could not see myself living far from the sea, and so even a few days ago, I was wondering. There are people that really love the mountains and the woods and stuff, and I like that. But there's the cat.
Yes, sorry. And, I was not expecting. Sorry.
Yeah, and so people enjoy the woods and enjoy the cities, and honestly, even small city breaks, I try to limit those as much as possible. And I want to enjoy the all the free time that I have, or the maximum free time that I have. Either it's in my city near the ocean, or if I'm traveling, I usually prefer to go to places where the ocean is nearby. And maybe because I was born, I never leave farther than 500 meters from the ocean. Never
500 meters. Okay, so
never.
You were also always in
Actually, when I was 4, I lived about 200 meters from the ocean. From 4 until 20 something, I lived like 50 meters from the beach. And now my place is about 500 meters from the beach. So it's like a 2-minute walk to the 2-3-minute walk to the beach. So I don't know any other reality. So even today I was practicing with, I do some box training, and today my trainer, he came here to give me the training, and he was like, what's this noise? And I was like, well, that's the noise that the ocean makes when it's lots of wind. Because for me, it's all these noises are very familiar, and I can really identify with them. For example, when the waves are very small, you see this. The sound is like these big explosions, spaced by silence, and I couldn't see myself living in any other. I would live elsewhere, but not far from the ocean.
Okay, we're going to talk about meditation today, and because we both have a meditation practice, and just out of curiosity, does the ocean function as a kind of meditation to you?
Yeah. Well, usually for many years, I was very strict with my meditation in terms of the place that I would do it. I would usually do it, like I told you before, I do a practice of visual meditation for between 10 minutes to 30 minutes, but usually it's like 10, 15 minutes every day. I was very strict with that. But now, whenever I'm in the beach, I usually try to meditate. Not in a visual way, but usually I close my eyes and I listen to the sound of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
But but yes, I think that the ocean and the beach is a wonderful place to meditate.
Because for me, if I integrate the sounds of the surroundings around me, and if you are in nature, that's perfect. And the ocean creates that perfect set and conditions for us to enter in a meditation state. You said something very, very interesting, and I think that we could start by that, because you said that in the beginning you had a visualization, a kind of visual meditation. It's not visualization; it's a visual meditation.
Yeah.
But what you mean is that basically you used a single point to focus your attention, right?
Yeah.
What did you use as a point? Something special, or
yes,
or it could be anything.
It's quite funny looking back. I was I think I was 20. I think either 19 or 20. So it was 20 more than 20 years ago. And I don't know why I started to interest myself about meditation and yoga. And I think that Amazon, the website, was already launched, and I bought this book. I don't know why, but I bought this book. I just searched some books about yoga, and actually about two books. One of them was The Complete Idiot's Guide to Yoga, of those series. The other one was called The Tibetan Yogas of Dream and Sleep, and I don't know why. It just felt a more authentic book. And it's about a Tibetan practice called Dzogchen. It's one of the I would say religions or trends of Buddhism. I would say
it's a kind of Zen meditation, right?
Yeah,
Zen.
Yeah. And one of the exercises that they suggested there was a practice called Zine, which is Zhine, Zine, which is basically a visual meditation where you choose an object and you just choose to be. You choose to bring your focus on a continual basis to that object, and they would advise the Tibetan yoga, the Tibetan letter A written on the paper or printed on the paper. But you could use any sort of object, and I started to use that because my name is Andre, so I just started to use that. So I've been using the same drawing for maybe 20 years. It's a Tibetan letter A, and I started to do that, and I was attracted to that because I thought that at least when I was about 20s, I thought that sound meditation was not very effective on me. I also thought that focusing on the breath was, I don't know why, but maybe it just didn't work that much. And the visual part, maybe because I'm a much more visual person, the visual meditation was very
effective.
Was very effective. I felt very comfortable doing that. And basically, the practice is very strict. It's a very strict.
Zen meditation is a very strict practice.
So it's basically they want you to go through discomfort. They want you to walk through the discomfort. And if your eyes start
they want you to get comfortable with discomfort.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm more relaxed today about that, but I remember in the beginning it was like if you follow their instructions, you just have to focus, always bring the attention to the object, and if you started to cry, you just avoid it because it was lots of time with your eyes open, and if you started to cry, you would just hold on and let the tears go down. If you start to feel discomfort in your back or in your heels, you just keep going. So yeah, it was quite strict. It was quite strict in the beginning. Then I started.
But basically, what they say is not only for you to get comfortable in the suffering, but also it's a way of taming your mind through your body, right? So
yeah. But it was in the beginning. It was difficult, but I remember, like maybe in the first year or something, it was a little bit difficult for me because My back started to hurt. It was something completely new, It was something, and also, I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't talk about that to anyone because if I felt
Yes, yes.
ashamed of
20
that.
years ago, it was a
20 years
little bit.
ago, I mean, it was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What's that? And I would start to do that in the morning and in the before going to bed. And it was, especially for sleep, it was very effective. And I felt it was doing something. I didn't know exactly what, but it was doing something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first contact with yoga and mindfulness. And because basically I just had this notion that the way that we saw our minds and our thoughts and our daily activities and the way that we saw life, I think that should be a different way. That there's something more than this, and it was not that much through a religious way. I would say more through an emotional way or through a spiritual way. I always believe there was something else that we needed to have contact with besides exercise or besides, I mean, religion. I just thought there was something missing, let's say, and I just got interested with yoga and mindfulness and meditation, and I just started to practice that. And one of the things that I realized is that you have something to look forward. Okay, so if I feel stressed, if I feel emotionally drained, at least I have that faith that I can become more peaceful through this practice. I mean, so it was something that brought me hope. Not only brought me benefits, but it especially brought me hope. I just knew I had a tool there that it would make me more connected to myself. And I just started to do that. And some periods of my life I do it less, and periods of my life I do it more. But I'm quite consistent with that. And over the last, especially since we've been starting to do the podcast, and over the last couple of years, I've been more flexible. And sometimes I do a meditation with my eyes closed. Sometimes I do a meditation in the ocean. One of the places that I really love to meditate is in Arifana, a place where I go there usually once or twice a year. And there's this special rock at the end of the beach that just an amazing place for you to watch the sunset and just stay there for a couple of minutes. And so I just became more flexible with that.
That's important because I think that it's especially in our life nowadays. I mean, it has to be something that you can integrate in your life. So if
Yeah.
it has to be something that you can take also pleasure on doing, not just
Yeah.
one more thing in your to-do list. And I think it's going to be important for us to break down some of the myths
Yeah.
and misconceptions about meditation. And one of the first things to start is exactly, and you already said that you had that in the beginning, and for the ones that don't have a meditation practice and there are interests to start, it's very important to start by focusing attention. That's the first step, and that's what you had in the beginning. And everyone that starts a meditation practice starts by that, because we have to first start focusing our attention, because
Yeah.
we are not aware, but our mind is everywhere, right? So we are
Especially
not
today.
we don't have the notion of how much we think about one subject, and then the mind goes to the other and the other and the other. How much we are doing something and our mind is thinking about something else. And
Email.
only when we start with a focused attention practice of meditation, we start to be aware of how much we do not control our mind, right? Our
Yeah.
thoughts.
It's email, Instagram,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
SMS. Uh,
Automatic pilot, just I
yes.
have to do that, I have to go there
Yeah.
now. When I finish this, I will go there. So
Yeah.
so basically meditation is this intentional practice. So it's an intentional practice. It means that you really have to stop whatever it is that you are doing and sit, or you can stand, or you can lie down, but you have to stop what you're doing and start to have to focus, to guide your mind towards a single point of focus. And that point of focus in the beginning can be you can open your eyes and focus in something in front of you, just like you did. Can be you did with the letter, but it can be, for example, a flower. It can be, there's some people that do it like with the
Candle.
a candle, exactly there, but it can be anything. You just have to observe a point in front of you, and that's your focus, or point of focus. And every time that you realize that your mind goes something else, you notice the distraction and you come back. And this is actually the technique in the beginning of starting a meditation practice, to be able to guide your mind towards a single point of focus. If you open your mind, if you open your eyes, it can be an object in front of you. If you have your eyes closed, you can notice your breath, can be your anchor in your own body. Sometimes the breath, and some people have this difficulty with the breath in the beginning, because if we are not used in the beginning, we feel that we are always controlling the breath. So because we start noticing the in breath and the out breath, we start to feel like we are controlling the breath and not actually having a meditation practice, but doing a breathing exercise. And that's not just when you observe, when you are in a meditation, you just observe the breath. You don't have to control the breath. So it's not a breathing exercise. There's a difference there. And also some people, when they observe the breath or they control the breath, it creates more anxiety into them. So there are some people that don't feel comfortable with observing their own breath. It's okay. Again, it's just about having an anchor, because in the beginning, your mind is going to be all over the place. So it's much easier if you have an anchor. And the anchor can be inside you, in your own body. If you don't feel comfortable with the breath, you can, for example, concentrate, if you are seated, on the touching points of your body where you are seated, for example, or you can concentrate on the clothes, the fabric on touching your body, or on your feet touching the floor, or your hands where your hands are standing. Or you can also use sounds. There are people that use sounds, for example, if you are in nature that's very rich in the sounds, or if you are near the sea, to just concentrate on the sound of the sea. But in the beginning, for anyone that is trying to start a meditation practice, the beginning of all starts by this focused attention practice. And because meditation is in its core, it's mental training, and it allows us to gain not only focus, concentration, but also to start really understand where our attention goes when we get distracted, to be able to bring our awareness back. And that's mindfulness. That's also a very important distinction. Mindfulness and meditation are not the
Yes.
same thing.
Same.
But mindfulness does not exist without meditation. I usually say that mindfulness without meditation is just a word, because you need the meditation, so you need the training. It's like going to the gym, right? The meditation is where you build the muscles of focus, of concentration, of being in the present moment. So that when you are with your kids playing and you're thinking about work, you can no, my mind is not supposed to be there. I'm here just playing with my kids. But if we don't train that, we are not used to do this. What just nothing to do with it has to do with not meditation, but apart this presence that we are talking about, of mindfulness, that we train with meditation, I think it's a skill. So we are born with it. And for example, when we are kids, and kids have it in a very natural way.
Yeah.
But when we grow, we lose it. Why do you think? I'm not going to ask you why do you think that we lose it, because we know it's. But why do you think that we don't have the ability to notice that we lose that skill and try to cultivate it? Because there's still this big. It's still not important to people. Do you understand my question?
Yeah, I think that I think it's I have never thought about that. I never thought about why do we lose that. But it's a very important question. I think that my first thought about that is, I think that life starts to be more complex. You know, I think that modern life starts to be more complex. I mean, if I think that the simpler your life is, the easier it is to be connected, to be mindful. You know, for example, when I remember when I was last time that I was in, whether it was in Arifana or it was in Costa Rica, for example, where I was just completely in an environment where my main goals were to work out. My main concern was to wake up and what am I going to eat? Where am I going to surf? I mean, I think that the shorter the complexity of decision, the easier it is for you to be mindful. So I think that with life, especially with modern life, something happens at around after you are a kid, which is adolescent, and all the struggles with adolescence. I mean, you have to prove yourself. There's this. You start to understand social roles and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of hormones going on, right? And just like animals need to survive, you also need to thrive in the society. So, and I think that from an evolution point of view, and this is very interesting. I'm going to tell you a story which I think that I've told you before, but I think it's very interesting, which is from an evolutionary point of view, the mind is an amazing tool, right? It is an amazing tool because it can deal with a lot of complex stuff. It can deal with complex problems. You can think in very complex, in deep ways. But I think that we have been using it excessively, you know. And I was even recently listening to an interview. It was Elon Musk that was saying something very interesting, and I think that we sometimes we forget about this. I mean, the first writings. I mean, the beginning of civilization. Why is this important? Well, when the humans started to deal with complex things, like the complex shit, right? They started to write things, right? And that only happened 5,000 years ago, which is nothing. I mean, the universe is like, I don't know, maybe 19 billion years before, I don't know. So it's just a flash. It's just like a spark. I mean, within the story of the whole universe, it's just a spark, isn't it? So I think that we have overused our minds because the civilization has turned complex way too fast. You know, yes, we start to use our minds, but I think that we overused it, and the biggest proof that we are overusing it is because. I mean, the huge amount of yes, it's true that physically we are better, and no doubt about that. The average lifespan is much better now. We are healthier physically. We live longer, right? But we also have a lot of mental issues, and mental issues are skyrocketing, right? I don't think that we ever had so much mental issues like we have now. Even in young people. So I think that we have we have lost a little bit of control of what it actually means to be human, because at the end of the day, being human means being present and taking the time to appreciate. I mean, if you look at animals, even the ones that are closer to us, and I love this quote, which is that instead of us being here communicating through space and time, we should be two monkeys watching the sunset and deciding where we are going to sleep. And I think we don't do that often, you know. We don't have those, and that feeling is there when you are a kid. When you are a kid playing outside with your friends,
you are much more physical. You live through your senses,
and you are much connected to the light and to the day and to the rhythm of the day. And I think that we have lost that. I think that we have overcomplicated things way too fast. We have made our lives much more complicated. Yes, we are healthier. I mean, but we live in boxes. We have our very strict work time. I mean, we work from 9 to 5. Everything has become strict. And I don't know if that is on the human's best interest. Yes, we made a lot of progress. We made things, health is much better. I mean, we have organized societies in a way that we can lower violence. And in terms of violence, I think that we are much better now that we were like 100 years ago. There are way much less wars. Things are much more organized. Societies, they are much better, of course. But I think that we still have this barrier of mental health and happiness. I think the barrier of happiness, I don't think it has been overcome. I mean, yes, if you are not in a war, you are happier, right? Because you've been through a war, you know what it is not to be in a war, and you are grateful for that. But I think that in a way, the excess of options that we have and the complexity of life has made us disconnect from what you were just saying, which is the way that we felt connected with our bodies as kids, you know. And and I think that one of the biggest hints that we can give to our listeners of how it is important to, I'm not only saying about practicing meditation, but thinking about this. Thinking about all this. So what is this mindful thing? Why is my mind playing tricks on me? What is my mind? What is exactly going on here? I just think that the simple fact of thinking about it is a very good way to start. And if you recall yourself, I mean, I think that the goal will be, and I sometimes I think about that. My goal through meditation and through knowledge and through simplifying my life is to be able to feel close again to what I felt when I was like 5 or 6 or 7 or 10, where everything was amazing. So I think that that's a very nice goal. And I think I think that we have to look at that as something reachable. Because I think that even people that struggle with mental health and depression and stuff like that, and we have all gone through that in a milder or more heavier way. But I think a good way of thinking about this, well, how can I connect back to the way that I felt when I was a kid, where everything was just, where I would go out with a smile on my face. And I think that it is possible to go there if we undo all the shit that we have done in our mind. I think it is, at least that's a direction to go, which is closer to what animals do, which is closer to how you are when you are on vacation. And this is why I'm such a fan of going on vacation to simple places. And yes, I do like some city breaks and going to the museums and going here and going there. But I usually take my time off to be connected to the most basic and naive part of myself and the most, I would say, almost raw part of myself. And this is what I like to do. And I think that's a good way to look at meditation. Just go back on words when you were a kid.
Because what meditation allows you is for you to start really taking out the layers of your thoughts.
Yes.
So because a lot of what we do is overthinking. So, and we are not saying that we should not think. And of course, the human mind is an excellent tool, just like you said. That's not what we are saying. It's actually the other way around. Is to really start using it well, because what happens is that if you are not aware, then you are completely ruled by these thoughts that most of them that are not even true. They are just assumptions, or just fantasies, or whatever, or even biased things, or that rule our life and end up ruling our days. And what meditation allows is for us to really start unpacking all these layers that we have, and we start seeing that there are thoughts that do not serve us. We can start seeing,
most of them.
And with that, then comes, like you said, a simplicity, because mindfulness opens the door for the beginner's mind, so which is the wonder, right? So actually observing things with like a child, like a child, like it was the first time, to allow yourself to feel wonder again, to allow yourself. It's interesting, because when you were saying that you sometimes have that goal of going back to that wonder of when you had 5 or 6 years old. I also think that, but I remember a few years ago, I had this insight when I was in my meditation practice, that I went back to when I was a kid, and I felt this motivation, of doing something. I remember, and
when was that like in an activity? I mean, was it doing meditation? Was it doing like
was in
or something?
No, was during my meditation practice. This was like 5 years ago, and I felt this feeling, of when I was a kid. I remember when I was doing something that I really wanted to be good at, but it was like a physical activity. Either when I was a kid, I would love to play like a elastic game with my friends, and I would really practice alone, or I would do the pino, I don't know how to say that in English, to the wall, and I practiced, and I felt this adrenaline. And I remember feeling that sensation, and I remember feeling, okay, this is what I'm looking for, and this is what I have to have in my life, and I don't have that now. Why? I must pursue this feeling. So, and it was a very physical thing, and since then I've been. I sometimes have moments of wonder, what I have when I feel that feeling again, and again, it's not by thinking about it; it's by feeling it. It's by connecting through my body, and really through my senses, not through my mind. And I guess that's the power of meditation, is being able also to connect you with your body, being able of connecting with your senses, and then you carry that to through your day. That connection, you can reach it much more easier, because you have the training. When you sit, and then during the day, you can connect with yourself much easier. You can ground yourself in a much easier way, and of course, you can pay attention to yourself in a much easier way.
Sorry to interrupt you. One of the things that one of the things of doing this podcast, which is great, is that some random people contact you to say, "Look, I really enjoy the podcast, and I'm here at this point in my life, and everything seems okay with me. I have a wonderful partner. I have kids. Everything is okay in my job. Everything is more or less okay in my job, but there's something missing. I would like to meditate. I don't know what's missing, and I would like to start to meditate, but I can't meditate." Sometimes they say that I can't, or sometimes they don't understand it because they believe it's something close to people that do drugs, or you need to go
Yeah,
to
there's still that,
yeah,
that yeah. Mm-hmm.
or you
Mm-hmm.
need to go to India or whatever. And I think that a good way to tell these people what we are talking about is just ask, do you remember when you were a kid? Remember the last time that remember a moment that you were a kid when you had a big smile from here to here, when you were doing something with your friends, you were at the beach, or you were playing outside, or like you were saying, you were doing some physical activities. How did you felt about that? Well, that was amazing. So this is what you have to look for.
Mm-hmm.
And if you tell them this, it makes sense to them. Well, because it's something tangible. It's. I think that the biggest misconception about meditation is that you are trying to become someone or something else, which is not, which is basically trying to connect to your highest form of love, isn't it? And I think this is when you talk about to people about, look, just meditation will probably allow you, or something like that will probably connect you closer to what you felt when you were really ecstatic when you were a kid. And I think this is a really good way of presenting it.
Yeah. It's kind of returning home, returning to
Yes.
yourself. So when you were saying the beginning, it's something that I look for.
Yeah.
Yes, me too, because it's returning home. It's connecting with myself. But in the beginning, when you start to do it, you have to be patient. So because we live also in a society that we want very quick results, and to build a meditation practice for you to be able to have the benefits and to feel this sensation. And of course, I mean, we have a consistent meditation practice, but there's also bad days, and there are days that are not easy. There are days that the mind is all over the place. So, and that's the practice, and that's part of it. It's just being with whatever is happening to you on that day. But in the beginning, if you are not used to do it, because there's also this big misconception about meditation, is that it's like this zen and completely passive thing. You know, that when you look at any image of meditation, it's always very still, very beautiful poses, and it's like you are blissed and still, and then you try to do it, and your mind is all over the place, and you are moving, and you have pain, and then I cannot stop thinking. So in the beginning, and that's why you should always start by the focus attention meditation, then after that you will open the door for other kinds of like the open awareness, where you can be with whatever it is that is happening. But for you to be able to go deeper in your meditation practice, the first step is also always the focus attention. And for that to happen, in the beginning, you have to be able to be with discomfort. And because in the beginning, your mind is going to be all over the place. So one of the main complaints that I have is that I cannot stop thinking. I'm always thinking in my mind. And this is actually a very big misconception about meditation, because it's impossible to stop thinking. So this is a misconception, and I think an illusion that people have, like they have this stop button. And actually they have, because meditation will have that effect with practice. But in the beginning, if your goal is to stop thinking, then all you're going to feel is frustration or a headache. But what your goal is to direct your attention. So you have point of attention. Either is your breath, either is a external object, or either is sounds. And then you notice that your mind is thinking. You notice the distraction, and you redirect your attention to your object of focus. So actually, thinking is part of the process. So it's not
Yes,
something
yes,
that you should avoid, but the distraction is part of the process. And when you this is a big insight for certain people, that actually thoughts are not the enemy, because they treat thinking or thoughts as an enemy, and they punish themselves. I am not good at this meditation thing. I cannot do this. I'm always thinking. Yeah, that means you are doing it. That's actually, try to see it in the opposite way. For the ones that are struggling with meditation because they not stop thinking, every time that you notice that you are distracted, that's a mindfulness moment. That's an opportunity for you to come back to the present moment, for you to ground yourself, to feel your body sitting and breathing, and to direct your attention back to whatever it is that you were focusing on. So this is a big misconception about meditation that I think it really can help. Don't Thoughts are not the enemy during a meditation practice. Really celebrate your distractions instead of punishing yourself, and you will
yes.
completely change your meditation
I
practice.
think that was one of the errors that I did in the beginning. I would get frustrated and I would get reactive with my inability to focus in the beginning, and I can really certainly relate to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another comment that I usually have is that in the beginning it's very difficult for people to relax when they meditate, because they start to be very, very tense, and they have
Mhm.
this image that meditation should be zen and that they should be relaxed. And then because they are trying to force themselves to concentrate, they start to be the opposite. They start to really be very tense, and then they start criticizing themselves, they start judging themselves. So, and again, they think that they cannot meditate, or that this meditation thing is not for them. So and it's actually quite the opposite. Meditation is our natural state. I think
Yeah.
you said something like that. If you are forcing it, just connect with yourself. Just take a deep breath. Connect with your body. And also a great way to start is like we were saying in the beginning. I mean, in nature, when you look at the
Yes.
ocean, when you
Yes.
feel the sun in your skin, and there's a light breeze,
Yeah.
and you close your eyes and you listen to the ocean, and you are totally there and in peace, and you don't have to force to not thinking about anything. You are just in the moment. So integrate in the beginning. You can integrate your senses. If you have 5 minutes of this every day, you start to have a
It's
consistent
yes.
meditation
Yeah. Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if even 5 minutes a day can make wonders. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
And
I think the two
yeah.
ways is again to, okay, like how can I feel? I mean, to get connected to how you felt when you were a kid, where your mind was completely empty and just happiness. It was just a thrill just to
Mm-hmm.
be in that moment. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a good goal. It's a
Mm-hmm.
good
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's a good
And you
direction.
can only achieve that through your body and through your senses.
Yeah,
The answer is not in the mind.
yeah.
You cannot think about being there. I mean, you have to, for you to be able to have the feeling, it's through your body, it's through your senses. So basically, what we are talking about here also, it's to return to our senses.
Yeah,
And that's also it has to do what we were saying about when we are kids. We are naturally in the present moment because we are so connected with our body and with our senses. And then we grow up and we start living our lives just from our neck up. Right? We start
yeah. And yeah,
rationalizing our actions. Hmm.
and regarding that, one of the things that sometimes I even ask myself, which is okay, so So what's the perfect balance here? What's the perfect balance between our mind and the things that we have to do? I mean, should I meditate all day and get nothing done? Do you understand? I mean, should I go and live in a monastery and just live there? And one of the things that really, and I think that I've told you once, that really was a great insight for me is it was once that I was in India. I was there for a month with a group of friends, and we were in Auroville, which is an amazing place. If people start to think about going to India, I think that the south and Auroville near Pondicherry, it's just an amazing. It's just this community of conscious community, which started in the 60s, and you can go there and you can propose yourself to give some classes on whatever your expertise is. I mean, if you go there, you can do some classes on mindfulness. I mean, anyone can go there and teach yoga or give a class on painting or whatever. I remember that I had some classes of vocal yoga just to better use my voice. But one of the things that I went there, it was this doctor. He was a young guy. He was maybe at my age, we were 30s or 40s. And he was giving a lecture, a class at 7 in the morning, I guess, on consciousness as medicine. Mm-hmm. That was the title. And I still get some emails from him. Basically, he was a doctor, and then his specialization was internal medicine. And he specialized himself in treating problems that were not responding to regular therapy. So when I went there, I thought, well, maybe he's going to, I don't know, maybe use some sort of techniques to treat mental disease and something like that. We were 4 guys, and we went there. And the guy, he started to talk about basically being present and providing love and attention to the areas of your body that had some issues. I mean, if you have like a knee problem that couldn't be fixed, or if you have like some back problem that couldn't be fixed, whatever it was physical. And it was about 2 hours talking about that. And mainly the thing was just give focus and provide love to that area of the body, because the body knows how to heal itself. And in the last, when we were about to leave, someone asked, well, but you've always been talking about the body. You haven't been talking about the mind. What about the diseases of the mind? And the guy said something that it really struck me even today when I think about it. He said, well, the mind is extremely ignorant. You cannot use the mind in your favor, because the mind itself is extremely young compared to the wisdom of the billions of years, of the millions of years of the body. And it's very interesting because the mind is something that in the evolution of the animal kingdom, it's the consciousness, it's very young and very fresh and still very naive. I mean, let's say there is like this inner wisdom of your body, and the mind is like an extension of still in development. I mean, it's still very naive. It's still very, very inconsistent. So the thing is that he was saying that you cannot trust your mind. The mind is amazing, and it is wonderful to build things. It's good to organize projects, to organize podcasts, to treat people, to open practices, to build a place, to work on a project, to create, I don't know, just to write a book. And I think what happens is that we can trick ourselves that the mind is who we are. And that for me was the biggest insight ever, which is to really understand that we are not our mind. And this is something that for anyone listening to this and which is new to this, what do you mean? I'm not my mind. Of course I'm my mind. I am what I think, I am what I feel. And yes, it's true in a certain way you are, but you are also way more than that. And so this brings us to the how balanced should we be? Because on the one hand, we have, okay, I can just go to Costa Rica or to Mexico, open a hut there, and just stay there and just do my meditation and just eat, fruits and live with absolutely no means. That's one way of seeing things, which is quite closer to the animal condition. And on the other way, we have this civilization where we interact with each other and we build complex stuff. We create societies. We have relationships. We have social norms. We have families. We have kids. We have marriage. We have divorces. We have all these things that we have created socially. And I think that I think all of these things are important, especially if you want to live in modern society. You have to adapt. You have to make money because you have to buy things to eat, and you have to take care of your family. You have to take care of your parents. But the thing is, okay, so all this evolution, what's the goal of all this evolution? Let's just be honest here. What's the goal? Because if the goal is always to maintain our physical body healthier, we have succeeded in that. The average lifespan, maybe 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 300 years ago, was like 30 or 40 or 50. Now we have doubled it, right? But what for? What is really the goal of being human? Isn't there any goal at all, right? Does this make sense, or does this not make sense at all? And in my perspective, I think that our mind, all this evolution is not our greatest gift. I think that that our mind will eventually evolve to something which is more conscious, which is more in depth with providing happiness or connection to all beings. I think that the way I see it is that in a few hundred years, if we don't heal ourselves with AI or something like that, but in a few hundred years, I always think that our minds would stretch to a point that we'll start to realize that we are all connected. Let's say it. We will be more conscious of that everything is connected, but we don't have to evolve that much. I think that if we unpeel things, we can also have that notion. If you meditate, or if you think about even just thinking about
it comes in a natural way from a meditation practice. Another benefit is that you were saying is the connection. You feel connected because with others in a natural way.
Because at the end of the day, we are all made of dust and stars and explosions and stuff like that, isn't it? And I think that I always have this struggle, which is, well, should I keep things as simple as possible, or should I use my mind to build complex stuff? And I don't think that the complexity of stuff or doing things and getting more is, and I think that we have it more or less clear, is not the single key to happiness and to peace. Of course, that we have to express ourselves creatively, and we have to make money and sustain ourselves. But I think that we need to have that balance. Because I think we need to get more connected with the simple part of ourselves. And our mind, in that sense, needs to be seen as an instrument that can very easily go into an hyperactive mode. I think that we have to understand that. And for me, that was a great insight, which is that my mind is not exactly who I am. And if I look at it in a different perspective, I can eventually be a better human being towards myself and towards others. Yeah.
And also with the meditation practice, another thing that you develop, another benefit is that you start to be able to observe your own thoughts.
Yes,
that's the skill that you start, not in the beginning. Again, in the beginning, you start with the focus attention, but when you start with the going deeper on your meditation practice, you start to develop this. You can call it a skill if you want to, but you start to develop this ability to observe your own thoughts. And this is like a superpower, because I think that if you have a meditation practice, then you can easily make those choices that you were talking about. Okay, what serves me better here? Oh, I want to use my mind for complex things, but at the same time, so with this ability of observing your thoughts, you can start distinguish where things make sense and okay, this is something that I really want to do, or what is just your ego going after approval or going after social status, and it's not really that important, or when it's a blaming game, so meditation brings you this perspective. So basically, and this is, for example, vipassana meditation, which is basically seeing things as they are and not as you want them to be. A lot based on, it's a very stiff, also a very rigid practice also, but it gives you this ability of really seeing things as they are, and you can really observe thoughts like, okay, this is just me making up stories on trying to go after something, but do I really want this? What is this going to bring to my life? So, and then this, you can really start balancing your life in a way that it feels more connected to you, and that brings instant connection with the world around you. And this is a very interesting thing, I think, for us to finish, because another thing that I hear a lot is this one, and I think it connects with what we are saying. Oh, I would love to do it, but I don't have time. I start to do it and I do it for 1 or 2 times, but then I don't have time. So
If you don't have time, you really
yeah,
need to do meditation,
yeah,
because you need
that's
to be aware of how you are spending
just
your
an
time.
excuse that you are saying to yourself. See, that's just an
Just
excuse
like
that you are.
exercise or
Mm-hmm,
anything else,
mm-hmm,
or sleep.
mm-hmm,
I don't have time to sleep. I
mm-hmm,
can't sleep
mm-hmm,
enough. Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, when I have someone saying to me that they don't have time, I always ask, but does your time, my day has also 24 hours. We all have the same 24 hours a day. We just have to be aware of how we use our time.
And usually it means that there's a lot of work, of practical work, that you really have to stop and listen and and reframe your goals, reframe the way that you live your life, and start to place things in perspective. And if you don't have time, you really have to meditate much more and really think about your life in a much deeper way. Because I think that, like you were saying, meditation is awareness, which is consciousness, which is being aware of how you are treating yourself and how you are treating others, how you are treating the planet, which is something very interesting. And also, one of the things that I think that meditation really helped me is um, that you. I think that you have to really be aware of how your actions affect others.
Oh, yeah.
And we all we have all hurt people. We have all hurt people in very different ways. I mean, whether it's a working colleague, whether it's a relationship, whether it's sometimes even someone that you know in the traffic. I mean, we have all made hurtful things, right? And I think we can at least at some point control them and reduce the cause of suffering to other people if we are more aware of how we are. And I think that really is something important, which is, and even recently I saw a conversation of a guy that was in his 60s, and he was telling that in his 40s sometimes he would hear he would listen he was being like pitched a business in a university or something. And he was saying that, well, there was this young guy who was just presenting something, and it was really awful because the numbers wouldn't match. But the guy was trying to do a good job. I mean, there was a student presenting that, and he said that he completely smashed the guy. He said, well, this makes no sense. The numbers, I mean, he basically embarrassed the guy in front of all the audience. And he was telling the story that then they went to the resting room, and they were both at the urinal, and he looked at the hands of the guy, and the other guy was shaking. And he really stopped and he realized, what have I done? I mean, could I have done this in a different way? Maybe I could have done this in a completely different way. I could just let the guy finish, call the guy aside and tell him, look, what you did makes no sense because of this and this and this. I mean, everybody's going to notice that this was not a very good not a very good presentation. But so what you should be doing is this, and this.
Constructive.
But
constructive way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you really think about it, how many times could we not control the first attitude in whatever part of our lives just because of ego, just because we wanted to prove something, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or because of ego, or because we were stressed, or because we were triggered by some sort of issue. And this is also why I think that meditation and trying to be aware of what you are doing is and even meditating about love and kindness and focusing on that, I think it's a really powerful tool.
It's very powerful.
Yeah. If you focus on that, I think it is a much better way of going through your life, because at the end of the day, I do this. Ego is, I think it's an important thing, but I think, honestly, I don't think that you will get something by making other. I don't think that you ever get something that is respectful and positive and important in life for you and the others, which is, if that is at the cost of making others feel down. Mm-hmm. And I think that, we all have done that. Mm-hmm. So I think that if you are aware and if you are kinder, it makes you more of a man, it makes you more of a woman. And I don't think that you'll get appreciated if you show more compassion or attention to other people. And I think that if you meditate towards that, and if you are more aware of that, of the things that trigger you, and I think that that's also a very important tool to reduce suffering in the people around you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those things happen because you are an automatic pilot. I mean, when and again, going back to the time thing, when someone says to me, "Oh, I'd love to do it, but I don't have the time," that means that the person is an automatic pilot. And actually, there's an old Zen saying that says, if you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day. Unless you are too busy, then you should sit for 1 hour. Yes. I think I'm saying it right.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, if you should think about that. If you are too busy to sit, and let's not go for the 20 minutes. If you are starting, just start with 5 minutes. Just start with what we were saying in the beginning, 5 minutes in silence, just connect with your senses. Even if you don't need to be outside, just in the morning, you holding your cup of coffee or of tea in your hand, feeling the temperature, the cup in your hand, feeling your feet on the floor. Just take a deep breath in and a long breath out, relax your shoulders, your belly, and observe the colors around you, and listen to the silence, to the sounds of the silence. And just start by doing that every 5 minutes, every day. Yeah. And if you don't have time for those 5 minutes, you should ask yourself, why? Why couldn't that? Because, and the answer is you are an automatic pilot, and you should sit in silence for 10. But people are scared of silence, Andre, and that's another reason why people don't give meditation a fair chance. Yeah. It's because when they are confronted with silence, and that's why some people started with guided meditations, and they cannot go deeper in their meditation practice, because for us to go deeper and to really have the benefits that we were talking about, it has to be in silence. We have to listen to our minds. We have to to be able to be with ourselves and connect with ourselves. And silence, for certain people, it's a very
scary
thing. Yeah. We are not used to.
One of the things that I would add before we finish is to allow yourself freedom in your meditation. I
Yes.
mean, if you are reluctant, if you think, well, I can't meditate, this is weird. I mean, I don't think I will do it. Yeah.
Because
Just,
to be very, I think that people hold themselves to this, like I said, to these pictures of meditation, very still in lotus
yeah,
position and not thinking about anything. You are totally right. Do your own thing. Don't be
yeah,
strict.
yeah. See
Try
how it
it
feels.
and see what works for you, because what
Yeah,
works for me or for you might not work for another person. So you have to experiment. It might not be good for you in the morning, maybe in the evening, in the
yeah,
afternoon, the place for you to do it. If you there are several kinds of meditation depending on the focus that you have. But just try it. Just do you own. I usually say this to when I teach meditation. I usually say the goal is for you to own your meditation practice. So you
yeah.
should own it,
And it's very
because
individual. It's very individual. It's very
yes.
personal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
So
don't
if
think you should. I don't think you should use meditation to punish yourself because of the things that went wrong. But I think that if in the beginning, and I think it happens a lot in the beginning, you start to think of the problems come up. I mean, your insecurities, your anxieties, your worries, they will come up, and I think that you have to not fight them, but just let them go. I mean, if you said something stupid in a meeting, if you said something stupid to a patient, if you said something stupid to your partner or to whatever, just if it comes up during meditation, because it will come up, just be kind to that. Just
yeah,
let that go. I mean, just accept that,
that's
and
self-compassion, huh? That's
yeah, and just
self-compassion.
let that go. But even that process of looking more from a neutral way to those sort of feelings and self-talk, even that activity of just looking from a more neutral way, it is helpful in itself. Yeah. And just
Mm-hmm.
let that go. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so
That was
much.
nice. That
Again,
was
a
very nice
wonderful
because
conversation. If we
when
can inspire someone to
yeah,
to start meditation.
let me tell that when we because I just had a pop-up of the notification of the meeting like 5 minutes before, and I just texted, look, do we have something booked? Yes. And I was like, okay, let's talk. And he said, well, meditation. I was like, oh fuck, I'm not prepared for talk about meditation. But
But of
it's
course you are. You do it in a consistent way for several years.
yeah,
Of course
but
you are. But that's it. There's no
there's no
uh
perfection in meditation. There's no perfection.
Yeah,
It's
that's it. There's
always
no
yeah,
perfection of meditation. It's just connecting with yourself. It's allowing
yeah,
to stop, to be still, to be present, to
yeah,
listen to the silence, to not fear the silence, to not fear
yeah.
your own mind, to smile to your thoughts.
But I will add something, and this is really important, which is like you were saying, if you don't have time, it's not through meditation that you have to create time. You have to use your mind
Mm-hmm,
to look at your schedule and
mm-hmm,
do
mm-hmm.
some
I
physical
usually
changes. Yeah,
I usually recommend it to treat it like any kind of physical
activity. Yeah,
activity. You do the same thing. If you start going to the gym, that one
okay.
hour to go to the gym is in your
Yeah,
agenda, right? So your day has to be in a way that during that
yeah,
hour you are going to be in the gym. So meditation practice is the same thing. You start with 5 or 10 minutes a day. Those 5 or 10 minutes a day have to be in your agenda. So
and,
it's an intentional
yeah,
practice.
and also I mean, it's important to. I don't think you'll have any benefits from meditation if you are sleep deprived, for example, or if you are eating shit all day, or if you don't exercise at all, or if you don't, or if you, for example, if you live alone, if you don't try to connect with other people. I mean, all these things. I mean, it's not. If you are someone that is just does not want to place yourself out there and create meaningful relationships with friends, with family, with partners. If you don't do that, if you don't sleep well, if you don't exercise, um, if you don't sleep, if you don't exercise, if you don't eat well, if you don't form meaningful relationships, it's not meditation that's going to help you, right? So we live in a physical world where you need to also take some action. Like you were saying, if you don't have time for the meditation, just look at your schedule, just do some changes there. I mean, it all adds up. It's not like the meditation is the secret for everything, because at the end of the day, you have to be physically and mentally in minimal conditions. And one of the things that I see a lot, and for example, sleep, and actually that would be a very interesting. We can even have like a guest or something to talk about nutrition and sleep and importance of physical exercise, because it's one of the things that I've been.
And sunlight, right? You were talking about sunlight the other day.
Yeah, all that. I think that it's equally important. You cannot believe that meditation will bring you any sort of enlightenment if you have a really fucked up routine, isn't it?
No, you're not going to be Buddha.
Yes.
No, but I do think that by providing this connection with your body, by connecting with yourself, you start to take better care of yourself.
Yes.
It's easier for you to make wiser choices that serve you better. So, for example, instead of when you arrive home very tired, instead of numbing yourself with food or scrolling on your phone or TV,
alcohol,
it comes much more. It flows in a natural way. For you to be able to go for a walk, to exercise, to eat something healthy, to know that you are when to stop eating because you are just stuffing yourself because you are bored. So if you are connected to yourself, it's much easier for you to read the signs that your body sends you of what you really need, and not going for the easy fix, because sometimes we are so disconnected and we just want to numb ourselves because we are tired. And actually it's interesting, because if you are tired, what you should do is just go to bed, go to sleep. But no, we numb ourselves with things, and then we go to bed only 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and the other day we have to get up early, and it's like a vicious cycle. So you have joining all those things together. It starts to make sense, but don't wait. We already said this. Don't wait to start exercising, having the perfect diet or this or that to you're never going to be on that stage. Just small steps. Start going for a walk, start making healthier choices on your food, start going earlier to bed. Don't look at the phone before you go to bed. Put some boundaries on your phone. Don't watch 5 episodes of a show, just watch one and go to it's true, the binge watching, right? So just watch one and go to bed. Just start doing 5 minutes of silence, because with these small things, then they will build up. And you will have healthy habits much more easier. It's much more easier to make healthy choices. Okay, thank you so much, Andrea. I hope we can inspire people to have a meditation practice, because if you want to live in a more present way, if you want to work in a more present way, to have to build awareness, meditation is the mental training for it. So it's the tool for you to
relationships.
Yes, it's a tool for you to be able to achieve it. Thank you.
Right. That was
Thank
very
you,
nice.
Andre. And for the ones interested, just go to softbites.online. We have
the course in October again, right?
We have another edition of the course coming in October, and I talked a lot about meditation and about mindfulness, and
probably this year we'll probably be doing some sort. We did that last year. We did some meditation practices, and it's a very nice place to be, and I think that at least the feedback that we've been having from students, it's very interesting.
It's a magical place because it allows us to really, to be in the present moment. It's a very good energy, and with the ocean, that we started this conversation speaking about the ocean, and we're going to finish it because it makes all the difference to be in that place. So. Presence come in a very natural way when we are there.
It's true.
Thank you so much, Andre.
Thank you. I know it's late over there, probably. And
yes,
see you next time.
See you next time, and thank everyone for listening to us. Bye bye.
Bye bye.